Good evening, everybody. Welcome to PSGL F2 for round number 13 here for season 26. We are going to the Circuit of the Americas, named by one of our commentators, Austin. Joking. It's in Austin, Texas, for the United States Grand Prix, first held in 2012, and Lewis Hamilton has won quite a bit of races around here. Let's have a look at the track before I introduce you to my co-commentator. So the track came into 2012. It has 9 to the left and 11 to the right, 5.5 kilometers long, and it has 2 DRS zones. We have 2 titles that could potentially be decided tonight. It could be the Constructors' Championship, or it could be the Drivers, or even both. Can Williams and Shizu Tomato do it? We'll have to find out very soon. My name is Jess, and joining me, as per usual, for the penultimate time this season, it's Dan.
Oh, the season's gone by so quickly, hasn't it? Well, hello everyone, and hi Jess, cannot wait for this one. One of the newer circuits on the Formula 1 calendar. Last time we came here was season 23, and someone who's been struggling in F2 at the moment, Skivan, took that win, and his teammate was actually in second, so could be good fortune for the AlphaTauri team today, but we'll just have to find out, as this is probably the most competitive grid we've ever had.
Yes, full lobby today, but we'll go through that in a minute. They're on their outlaps at the moment, so not much going on, but if you were watching last week's race, it was absolutely amazing around Canada, of course. The weather definitely threw a spanner in the works, and safety cars as well, and it was CC Brain who take the victory, which promoted him to 4th place in the championship with 2 wins to his name now. With M Short, one of the reserve drivers who is here tonight again, filling in for Faz tonight. He finished in second, and Greeny LFC was in third. Now, on our game, it said that he was down in 13th, but we can confirm within his end, he finished third. So that is what the stewards decided to be. So that's good news. Faz in 4th, Tomato 5th, Hadler 6th. Lakitu likes his 7th place. Benny in 8th, Pat in 9th, and Golden was in 10th for that. And the drivers' standings, now this is very, very crucial. Tomato, if he outscores Greeny LFC by 10 points, he is your drivers' champion for season 26. Faz is not here tonight. Faz is out of the running for the championship now because he's not here. So it's all down to Tomato and Greeny. I wonder if Greeny could pull off a Vettel in the final round in Brazil and take the title then, or will Tomato take it tonight? We'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, it looks like Tomato is the favourite.
Yeah, at the moment he's probably going to be rubbing his hands together when they're not on the steering wheel. 27 points at the moment ahead of Greeny. It really is almost the final nail in the coffin for this Grand Prix. But Greeny has to be on his A game, and realistically, if he wants to stay in the championship and have a chance coming to Brazil, he's got to get a podium. Actually, he does have to get a podium, and Tomato doesn't have to score at all. So it is really crucial that Greeny is on his A game today. But I wouldn't put it past Tomato putting in a game performance as well from him.
Yeah, exactly. And Greeny has to win either this race or Brazil in order to win the title. If he doesn't win any, then that's it. But he's known for taking podiums, as 6 podiums till his name, does Greeny LFC. Let us actually go to the track, actually, since there's a lot going on. But yeah, 6 podiums, Greeny LFC. Very, very consistent driver. He's actually picked up points where Tomato hasn't, which may come into his favour tonight. The best driver in the field on 75 points without a win. Tomato leading with a win. The only other people to win were Tomato, Dario, and Will, and Name Changer. So, you know, Greeny has got a lot of work to do, obviously, but we'll have to wait and see as Greeny actually is on his outlap at the moment. And I've got to say, looking at this track, it is dry at the moment. Penalties could play a deciding factor. It's one of those tracks where they get a lot of penalties here, more than I think most tracks on this game. So something to be aware of. But Greeny is one of those ones who can keep it clean. So that could work well in his favour tonight.
Absolutely. There is a lot of places where you can run off, most notably through the SS section. If you should get a little bit of understeer or you take a corner just a bit too fast, you can go off the circuit, get a warning, and penalties will come in numbers. And it might not seem like much at first, but then they will absolutely rack up. And Chapelele on pole at the moment with a 29.5, and then Pat immediately blowing out of the water Well, I'll tell you one time it's been blown out of the water. Last time we came here, the pole time was a 31.1, and we're already almost 2 seconds quicker than that.
Yeah, that is crazy. It just goes to show how much this game has evolved over the years. Season 26 was on F1 2019, and to be honest, it definitely threw a lot of issues for some of the drivers for the racing, but hopefully not tonight. There was quite a lot of overtakes we saw there as well, and Pat Schneider was one of those drivers who hasn't had a really good start to the season, but he's done like a Red Bull on us, and he's scored really well, scored consistently in the last few races, and I'm just trying to see how many points he has scored. He scored points in the last 4 races. He started his points streak again with a P2 in Japan, P4 in China, P5 in Bahrain, and a P9 in Canada. So, you know, he's looking on top form. Obviously, the Racing Point driver's looking good in F1. Hopefully, he's going to replicate that tonight in F2. You never know. We haven't seen the fastest times from the drivers yet. 1:29 is still banker times, but we're seeing times very, very close already. As M Short is in second place. Greeny, I was riding on board with Greeny earlier on in his lap, and he actually had his time invalidated going through the S's section, as you were talking about, Dan. So he can't do that in qualifying, and he can't do that in a race. And if he wants to win the title, then he's got to get a move on.
Yeah, of course. We've got 11 minutes left in the session. We've just struck 12, so I think that they will have enough time and they will eventually put in a lap. But 29.4, we're definitely going to see a faster time than that come the end of the session. I definitely think they could be in the high 128s, maybe even in the mids if they are on top of their form. But right now, a driver on a lap is a race winner this season. Took the Bahrain Grand Prix name changer, just coming through this little loop section here, and now up towards where Kimi Raikkonen and Max Verstappen had their little skirmish from the final lap. You don't want to invalidate there because that'll knock you off the podium like it did for Verstappen. And now coming through the last couple of corners, it's looking pretty clean this run from Name Changer. Of course, he is a very fast driver. Big lock up coming to the final corner. That is to be expected. And now across the line, what can he do? Goes 7th fastest just behind Hadler, 29.4. So he's got a little bit of time to make up if he wants to be on pole position where Pat is at the moment. But overall, a pretty decent lap from him there.
Yeah, definitely. And as you were going past turn 1, if it's very, very sunny, you can get blinded a little bit as well. So it's really, really difficult to find your braking zone at times. But these drivers know what they're talking about. But I think one of the action zones tonight has got to be turn 1. I've got to say, a lot of overtakes are going to happen there. And there was another person that just invalidated, which was Name Changer. But I think he was on his flyer just before. So that is all right. Will is on 2 lap old softs, but hopefully he's going to get into the pit soon as well. Bugatti in 12, also on 2 lap old softs as well. I'm seeing a lot of people on the softs this early on, and if I was them, I would have gone onto the mediums to start off with, but I'm guessing the softs are the fastest tyres to be on around this circuit. You're either going to be doing soft to hards or soft to mediums today. So I think these strategies are going to play dividend. If they don't last long on the softs, they can go onto the hards till the end, but if they feel like they can push those softs even for quite a long time, if they don't have dirty air, for example, then they can go on the mediums until the end. It does depend on the track temperature as well. I've done a lot of races around USA, and I've got to say, the S's is where you lose, well, you gain quite a lot of tyre temperature if you get it wrong. It kind of reminds me of Maggots and Beckett, some of the way it's designed, and obviously Japan as well, where the S is section as well. Simo, by the way, is a Motti, for those of you that don't know, for those of you who got confused. He's not a new driver. I thought he was a new driver, but then Dan told me he was a Motti, so he still hasn't set a lap yet, but he's got a little bit of a toe from Benny. I think it was unintentional, of course, because slipstreaming is banned, but he's going through one of the best overtaking spots around this circuit, heading towards turn 11 and 12 as he goes to the left apex there. He extended it just a little bit, but does enough just to get away with that, and I think he would probably not get away with it if he tried it in any other spot on the circuit. But 14th for the moment. Let's see how well he can do in the final sector.
Yes, looking like a pretty clean lap from Simo at the moment. Of course, the Italian, his teammate, on top of his game at the moment, of course, leading the way in the championship, but that does not overshadow Simo. He's had a really strong performance so far this season, and now coming through the final corner, this is going to be the end of his lap. We'll see what he can do, and it's looking like P8 from him at 29.8. He could definitely go faster than that. He is around the pace of some of the guys who are at the top at the moment. So I'd expect him to come in, fit a new set of tyres, and then go all over again.
Yep, obviously we don't know what the weather is, of course. We don't like to be spoiled, of course. I'm tempted to check the chat, but usually they don't give away things in the chat. Shapalele in the Racing Point once again, scoring some decent points recently as well, which is great to see. Shapalele just going through sector 2 now as well. And I think Shapalele and Pat get on well together, so unfortunately Kurats could not make it again tonight, but it's still nice to see everyone making their efforts to try and attend these final 2 races, even if they're not in the championship fight. The constructors fight is between Williams and Ferrari, and possibly Renault as well, but with only Lakitu, the full-time driver, in the Renault seat tonight, I think it's really going to be down to Williams and Ferrari. But here comes Shapalele across the line, and it is pole position with a 129.132. That is a really, really good lap from him. He's got pole a few times before, but he hasn't converted it to a win. Could tonight be the night, and could this be the night that I don't commentators curse him?
Well, you might have already done so at the moment, but Shapalele, he is a very fast driver and he knows how to get the most out of the car and take the perfect lines through the corners. But it's just over an entire race, he tends to crumble a little bit. So hopefully, just hopefully, he can finally have that perfect race where he just doesn't make any mistakes and he's on top of it. I'm saying that quite a lot today, I have noticed. I'll try and switch everything up. But yeah, he definitely can be one driver to be on top.
Yeah, definitely as well. Luke is back as well. Luke, the only driver not to score any points this season. He hasn't got that many races to score points, really, to be honest. And he's feeling a bit unlucky because, obviously, at the start of the season, his wheel had problems. But luckily, later on in the season, he returned. I'm just trying to think where he did return to PSGL F2. I believe it was, I'm just trying to think, it was Belgium where he returned in the McLaren. But then after that, he just didn't get good form, so he got P15, P12. He was close to the points again. It's kind of like George Russell in a way, almost there, but unfortunately not making that much improvement. But Luke is going to come across the line to start his next lap. Hopefully he'll have enough time to do one final one really soon as well. Tomato, our championship leader, down in 18th position and has invalidated once again. So it's going to be a one-shot qualifying for him, and Greeny could sense an opportunity in the making if Tomato doesn't get a good lap in. But Greeny hasn't set a lap either, but he is on one now as he goes through the DRS straight of turn 12. But, you know, if I was Greeny, I would probably be with a little bit of confidence right now, knowing that your championship rival hasn't gone off the mark yet in this qualifying session. That gives you, I think, a bit less pressure, I think, to deliver and just get a lap in at this early stages. Because please be warned, if you do one-shot qualifying around here, it's really, really tough. Usually I find it tough because the pressure is definitely on you at this very moment. So Tomato doesn't have that long at all, but here comes Greeny right now. A little bit of traffic, and he doesn't hit a lap either as he goes into the pits. The traffic from Dario and Benny did not help him there.
Yeah, no, he wasn't pushing for a long time on that run, actually, and his fuel light was blinking red, so I do think that means he was going to come into the pits. I believe one of the only drivers on the circuit actually on a push lap at the moment is Luke, so you might as well follow along with him. He's just coming through the third sector at the moment, the flat-out right-hander now into the successive left-handers to finish up the lap. Now coming through turn 18, the final corner around the circuit, if I am correct. And now big lock-up and a big bit of oversteer on exit, and that's only going to put him 15th place with a 130.1, just ahead of both Mercedes cars. Not really impressing all that much in this qualifying session. Hopefully they can get further up the order as the session goes on, but then Big C invalidates on his run. So yeah, they're not doing too well down at the Mercedes camp.
No, they're not as well. Bugatti not scoring any points, neither did Big C as well, so no points for the Mercedes in Canada, whereas in real life, obviously, Mercedes were 7 times Constructors' champions. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that in PSGL F2. We're going to get the exact opposite if Williams could do it tonight, but hopefully Big C and Bugatti could work together a bit more. It's the final 2 races, and it's not that long before season 27 comes along, so they can start putting their differences aside, and, well, not differences aside, but their results aside, and concentrate on the next season. Which sign-ups are open, by the way, for everyone, not just everyone who's taken part this season, but for every single person who wants to sign up. Sign-ups are open on Discord, so if you are interested, join the PSGL Discord for more information. We want to get new drivers. Maybe we'll see new drivers next season in F2 if we ever get to commentate that, of course. And the only person on the outlap is Lakitu, who likes his 7th place at the moment, and he's got to score big if he wants to keep his constructors' hopes alive from Ferrari. I think Ferrari need a downfall, basically a downfall, if Lakitu wants to help his team today for the constructors' title, and I think Williams even need a bigger downfall in order for that to happen. Skeevan is on his lap at the moment, and people going in as early as they possibly can, but I think that's a good idea, just in case you want to get one final lap in if you mess up on your first attempt on this run. It does depend, though, what the weather's like. If we see people on more than 1 lap or 2 lap stops, then it may be an indication that it could be rain at the start of the race. We have seen this quite a lot in PSGL F2. I won't be surprised if we see that tonight. Everyone's going out again, and there's a lot of traffic going through the S section. I think we've got 1 Racing Point, 1 Williams, and 1 Alfa Romeo as well. That's going to be very tricky to get out of traffic if I were them. So for some people, they're probably going to wait until they can get some clear air. But yeah, again, that's difficult.
Yeah, Lakitu just coming through the final sector on his outlap. He's probably filled up enough for 2 laps, and he can certainly do that with just over 2 minutes to go left in the session beginning on this run. Really easy to make mistakes, but coming up this early could leave you at the mercy of some traffic. You just see a big herd of cars, I think it's like 4 or 5, just coming out the pit lane now, and that's going to wreak havoc for him. Both Red Bulls, it seems, are Williams, and then another Renault are his teammate at the moment today, of course, M Short. It's going to be really difficult for Renault to keep it alive with constructors because, of course, reserves do not get any points for the constructors. So it is really a 1v2 at the moment. You can see him coming through the first sector. Golonen doing well to get out of the way. That's a little bit of traffic cleared off the racing line, and I believe he won't have too many issues because really his troubles are behind him through the S section where dirty air will be the most prevalent.
Yeah, especially in the race as well. Watch out for the first couple of laps to see how they handle that as well. DOS enabled for Lakitu there as well. Oh, that was a bit risky. I don't think you were meant to do that. I think M Short was trying to get the toe down. I didn't quite see it from my angle, but you're not allowed to give slipstream, so that might be questioned in the stewards. If it's unintentional, though, then that should be fine, but surely M Short... Maybe it was just wrong place, wrong time, I don't know, but that's probably gained Lakitu quite a bit more time and pace. But as Lakitu goes through the final sector now to finish off his lap, we've also got a few people on their outlaps. We've got Tomato as well. Greeny's on a lap at the moment, and Lakitu invalidates. That's not what you want there. And he's going to be in a lot of traffic, so I'm guessing that's his run over. But 1:29.6 is not a bad lap from him.
Yeah, that is quite disappointing, though. He was up on his time by quite a bit. He was about 2/10 up through the second sector, and it was all thrown away just by going off the track that little bit. So really unfortunate for him there. Got some more drivers finishing up their laps. PR1 Will just nipping it in the bud. He's starting his lap with 15 seconds to go. Everyone is out on circuit at the moment and on a run. One driver about to cross the line. Last time we came here, he was the winner. He goes 6th place. Bit impressive actually from Skeevan because he's really not had the best of time in F2 this season, so this might be a little bit of a confidence booster for him.
Yeah, obviously they've done well in PSGL F2 around this track as well, obviously, because Skeevan has won, so he's hopefully going to be doing that here tonight. As the checker flag has now fallen, we're starting to see more people come across the line as Dario goes in into the pit lane. He invalidated his run, unfortunately. We got the 2 Hasses coming across the line. Benny goes P10, and we got Hadler in P3, a very good lap from him. We've got one of the Ferraris about to cross the line. I'm trying to see if it's CC Brain or Greeny. It is Greeny, our championship rival, the only person that can stop Tomato tonight. And Greeny only manages P15, but he's going to hope Tomato goes behind him. We'll have to find out as well, as Tomato will go behind him. He's invalidated. That's going to be costly for him. Golonen just going across the final corner now. We got CC Brain, could only manage 4th place at the moment. We got Name Changer, I think, on going through just past the final bit of sector 3. Golonen comes across the line. He can only manage 7th place. Everybody is going on their final laps. Will is just slowing down. I think he's running out of fuel. Bless him. So we just got Name Changer. Oh no, that's an invalidation for name changer. That is unfortunate, so I think it's just Shapalele, but he doesn't have to go fast on his run because I'm almost certain that is pole position because I don't think Skivan and Cedric is going to go any quicker. Cedric, we haven't talked much about him, but there he goes. Yep, that is it for qualifying. Shapalele on pole, and the big story is both of our championship rivals down the back of the grid, and Tomato especially, did not set a lap time.
Yeah, so that is going to be quite interesting to see a charge through the field if we were to finish this way with Greeny in 18th and Tomato in 20th. He can finish in last position and still win the title. So it is all up in the air whether they can get through the order, but that is qualifying. It's a Racing Point front row lockout and another pole for Shapalele. Can he convert that into a good race? He might be called a bit like George Russell, a Mr. Saturday, or I guess this is Mr.
Quali Merchant. Quali Merchant, I would like to call Shapalele, but hopefully we don't get to call him that after tonight. So we got an all-German top 5, my oh my. The Germans are taking over PSGL F2 in qualifying, which is very, very interesting. So Shapalele, by 1/10 of a second, takes pole position with Pat. As a Racing Point 1-2, that is what everyone would like to see going into this race. Haddo in third, CC Brain, last week's race winner, in fourth, Lakitu in fifth, Simo Mimossi in sixth, Gonan in seventh, M Short eighth, Skiven in ninth, and Cedric in 10th. Then we got Will, Benny, Name Changer, Big C, Luke, Dario, Compassion, Greeny, and Bugatti, your final person to set a lap time, and the one who not set a lap time was our championship leader, Tomato. And just a quick reminder of the constructors' standings. Williams need to outscore their rivals tonight, well, Ferrari and Renault, by 22 points or more. If Williams if they don't get outscored by 22 points or more by other teams, then they secured the constructors' title. And with the way Tomato is performing, you never know, but I've got to say, I think Tomato is going for the alternate strategy. The alternate strategy is known to be OP on this game. I think this could be the night if he does do the alternate strategy, and if he does pay off, then that's going to be a good championship victory for him if he can do that. And I wonder if Greeny could do the same and pull off the alternate strategy. But everyone else, I'm not sure what these guys will do. Skiven obviously having a good qualifying that converts to the race. Has a lot of people that actually shone and hasn't done well this season. But I'm not going to jinx too much, Dan, because we got a race on our hands. And I've jinxed quite a few people last week and I got told off for that. But I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's your money to win this race today?
My money to win this race, if I had to make a bet of all my saving, which isn't that much, I'm going to say, just for a little bit of fun, I think Shapalele will convert this pole into a win. Why the hell not? You know, he's a very fast driver, over 1 lap, and if he can make that 28 laps, then that would be great for him. Starting ahead of his teammate today, Pat, and of course the top 5 I've just noticed are all German. Shapalele, Pat, Hadler, CC Brain, and Lakitu, all fellow countrymen. Then the odd one out, starting in 6th, is Simo, and I don't think anyone else is German unless I'm mistaken.
I did point that earlier, but that was just amazing to see. I just liked it. It was a German 1-5, I've got to say. But, you know, Shapalele, I think I'm going to say he's not going to take the win today. I think he may get a podium potentially or P4, but I think I'm going to go on a limb. Either CC Brain is going to take his 3rd win of the season, or Tomato is going to pull off a masterclass and do a last to first. But I think I'm going to go for the more realistic option, and I'm going to go for CC Brain. I think it's going to take the victory today. And don't forget Will as well. Will is on the alternate strategy as well. He's won here before. He's also won this season. He's definitely a contender for the race victory as well. There's just quite a lot. I don't know who's going to get the win today. It's so wide open. None of your championship contenders are in the top spot, but all the championship contenders are on the alternate strategy, apart from Faz, of course, who's not here. Faz, don't forget, is not here tonight, and because Faz is not here tonight, he is out of the running to be crowned F2 champion. The only people that are still in the running are Greeny and Tomato.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why the alternate strategy is so good in this game, is that the mediums are really strong. So if you start on them, and then you can save up and keep up with the soft runners for a little bit longer, and then go on to that Red Bull tyre right at the end, you'll be on lighter fuel, and you'll be a lot quicker than everyone else who's on the mediums, worn out mediums, and that is just what makes it so strong.
Yeah, definitely. As we're about to get started for the penultimate round of the season, it does fly by really, really quickly. And only 2 races for everybody to make an impression. For some of these guys, it's their last chance to prove to the big bosses that they deserve to either be in F2 or in F1 next season. And most of these guys will have to make the jump to no line next season if they want to stay in F2. But we'll talk about that next week. But anyway, the 5 red lights are on. Shapalili is on pole, Pat alongside, and it is lights out. And away we go. And it's a good start from both the Racing Point boys. But a really good start from Shapalili. But look at Hadler trying to make the run towards turn 1. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it work this time. Both the Racing Points working together there. And we already had contact from one of the Williams cars. That was Simo, who's dropped it down into 14th place. A few other cars may have got in contact with him. I'm not entirely sure, but here we go. We've got Ciappellini first, Pat second, Hadler in third, and CC Brain in fourth. The top 4 remain unchanged. Let's see how they make it through the S's section. And we've got Renault 5th, 6th of Lakitu and M. Shaw. Lakitu had a really good start, made up 2 places, I think. Let me just actually check before my mind goes completely blank. No, his teammate M. Short has made 2 places of the starting line. So Renault doing a very, very good job. Greeny, unfortunately, could not make the move past Daria. Daria up into 15th place already. But not a good start for one of the Williams boys of Simo, who's dropped it down into 14th place. It looks like Ferrari could still be winning a shot if the Williams don't score points. But don't forget, the Ferraris just need to score big here, and they can go on for another race into the final race of Brazil.
Yeah, I was watching on board with Greeny on his start, and he was absolutely electric, being as aggressive as possible because he can't afford to sit behind. And now Tomato is trying to make a move on Gonnanan, who's acting like a bit of a mobile chicane at the moment. He's doing really well to defend from the Welshman, but he just can't find a way through. As they complete the first lap of the Grand Prix, it's Chapelele out in front, and now a little bit of desync. Of course, what would you expect with F1 2020? But it is a really brilliant start for the Racing Point outfit. And the all-German 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that has been maintained. But Will is up to, unless that is mistaken, it is mistaken, Will has had a really brilliant start. I believe he's up to 7th.
Yep, he is. I mean, Will, as the order changes, so we won't know where Will is at the moment. But yeah, Will seems to like his track, doesn't he? Like we saw earlier on, Will getting 2nd place in season 23, but he's got to keep an eye out on the penalty, so he's got to be careful not to track extend. Benny goes in to the pit. Unfortunately, he received damage in lap 1, so he's probably going to go onto the hard compound tyres and do a hard to soft strategy for the remainder of this race. But yeah, Will up into 7th place, doing an outstanding job at this moment in time. Not that far behind M. Short as well, last week's podium sitter and reserve as well. Don't forget the reserves don't score points for the constructors, but if they did score points for the constructors, Renault would have been very, very happy bunnies on where their boys are being placed at this moment in time. The top 10 are very, very close together. We could see a DRS train really, really soon start to develop, and we could see more people at the back start to catch up to that DRS train. Big C has also had a really bad start, dropped down 5 positions. Not very good for the 7-time world champion, but it is still a long way to go for the Mercedes driver. They can't score no points. They have to score quite a bit if they want to stay alive and get some midfield positions in this championship.
Yeah, well, one crucial thing at the moment at the front, just looking back up there, is that Chapelele has broken the DRS to Pat, so he's going to be a little bit vulnerable to Hadler and CC Brain behind. CC Brain right on the back of Hadler as well, so he could be within a chance of getting a podium if he's just quick enough. And Big C coming into the pit lane, I believe, that is only for the first time. I did see him, he was just going slow out the first corner. Something must have happened.
That was damage. I was talking about it. That's why he went into the pits and he got caught up. So yeah, it's not good for the 7-time champion, but we still got battles to unfold. We could start to see people trying to make a move into the one of the best overtaking opportunities of this circuit. CC Brain is potentially going to try and have a look around the Haas of Hadler, but unfortunately has to stay behind him for now as Hadler still keeps his podium hopes alive for another lap. But CC Brain, a little bit of a slide there. That's not good for the tyres. He's probably overheating them just a little bit. That's allowed both of the Renault boys to catch up quite considerably at this moment in time. Compassion not in DRS range of Cedric, unfortunately. We got a DRS, we got two DRS trains actually. One from P2 down to P9 and one from P10 to P18. We've got a fight in our hands today, and the danger, like I said, in most of the races this season, if you're in a DRS train and you got people behind you and in front of you on DRS, you're going to have a way of a disadvantage because obviously they're going to have the same power as you. You want to be, the people with the most power are going to be the ones that have broken the DRS range, and the ones at disadvantage is going to be Pat, who's got Hadler chasing every move.
Yeah, and someone else who could be on with a shout for a good position, as I just say that he gets a 3-second time penalty, is Luke. He is behind Compassion at the moment. He's got a name changer, really applying the pressure to him, but he is sticking with his fellow VRT compatriot. He just needs to get a little bit closer in the DRS zone, and then he can be on for P10 for his first points of the season. Looking back further up the order, you can see they're all kind of coming up together at the same point, the Hadler, Pat and CC Brain. But just on lap number 4, you really wouldn't see them making too many moves.
Sorry, name changer gets the move done, one of the first moves done in this corner, and he did it before we actually got to the end of that corner. Name changer up into 11th place, 1 place more and he's in the point, and that demotes Luke down to a miserable 12th place. He's 2 positions off the points. He can still taste it. It's not over yet for the McLaren driver, of course, but let's see how Luke can catch up to these guys. He's got to, really, and Lakitu has got a 3-second time penalty as well. A bit of a shame for him. Will's got a 3-second time penalty. I won't be surprised if almost everyone gets a 3-second time penalty. Simo goes into the pit lane for his stop, and it is early for a scheduled stop, or unless it might be for the undercut. The pit window is lap 7 to 9, and it's way earlier than lap 7 to 9, so I think he's got damage. Yes, he's... I can't tell because of the camera angle. That is a bit annoying. So I think Dan could probably check the race director for that, because if I do, then it's probably not going to see the action. But yeah, Simo goes out of the pit. I'm guessing it was for front wing change as he's dropped it down to 18th.
It actually wasn't for a front wing change at all. I'm thinking what it is. You know what? I'm thinking what it is for Simo is that he probably wrecked his tyres after his early shunt at the start of the Grand Prix, and they just weren't in good nick at all. But here's CC Brain making the move for P3. He's going to make the send coming in through the corner at the end of the DRS straight. He's got the inside line now. They're going to run side by side out the corner and up towards this far kind of long winding section. He's on the outside, but they have the inside for the next corner, so he's going to be in a better position. You can see the black marks on the surface of the track where everyone is locking up. They're still running side by side, but I believe that is the move for P3 for CC Brain. He overtakes Hadler, and now he's going to be on the back foot because he's almost lost DRS to Pat up ahead, so he will be at the mercy of Hadler. But it's a brilliant battle and a great move from CC Brain there.
Definitely, CC Brain is on course to get his 3rd win of the season, and he's looking good if he can keep this up as well. Only 8 tenths behind the 2 racing points, well, the one with the racing points of Pat. Pat's still keeping on to 2nd place, and I think that teamwork that they did in the start of the race has helped Chapalili start to increase the gap a little bit, and for Pat to stay in 2nd place. And teamwork is crucial in this league. Some people take constructors very, very seriously, and if I league race, I also take constructors very, very seriously as well. Everyone makes it their way through the S section at the moment, as we are going to be approaching the pit stop window pretty soon for the ones that want to opt for the hard compounded tyres. And I don't think many people would want to opt for the hard compounded tyres, so some of these guys will probably be stretching out their soft tyres just for a little bit longer as we get to see some grey racing there. Lakitu looking really, really good. He's a prancing horse on Hadler at the moment. Goes to the left, Hadler closes the door on the right, and Hadler stays in 4th. But Lakitu is going to try and go side by side in these next couple of turns as well. CC Brain has got even closer to Pat. It's just getting very, very intense between 2nd and 6th right now as well. Everyone else just a little bit too further back to make any moves. You really got to be like 3 attempts to make any moves around here. And I think that's what Nikita is trying to do. He's, basically he's gaining a few attempts per lap as it seems at the moment. And it's allowing Pat to stretch the gap just a little bit more. But CC Brain, he's a lot faster this last lap as well, as he is on the cusp of getting P2 at the moment and trying to steal a 1-2 from the Racing Point drivers.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a stretch to catch up to 0.2 seconds to Chapelelli up ahead, but he'll take whatever he can get and just bank that maybe Chapelelli might have a couple of penalties come the end of the Grand Prix, because he's only 5 tenths back from Pat at this moment in time. This is prime position for CC Brain, where he can probably be close enough to make a move in the DRS zone, as now you can see he's actually got a much better run than Pat coming through the final corner of the Essen section. Now this is going to be the move it must be for CC Brain. He's got to be as crucial and critical as possible. 4 tenths is the gap. We'll see that rapidly decreases now. DRS wide open, should turn up his DRS sooner or later, but he just seems like he's not going to push too much, and I think we built up all that hype and he's not going to go for the move.
Yeah, we've done that quite a lot this season. Build the hype and saying, yeah, they're going to go for the move. They're gaining, and then, no, they let us down at the last second. But you never know, still a long way to go. And by the way that they're pushing, it looks like they're going to stay out and go for the mediums, which I think is the best point of call, I've got to say. It is the fastest strategy. It's going to be the one that's going to be on the quickest tires, because if you're on the hards, you're going to be losing so much delta time to everybody else. The delta time between the softs and the hards, 2.1 seconds. The delta between the hards and the mediums, around 6 tenths of a second. So you're really going to be losing so much time on this track. So, and as confirmation dictates, we have got CC Brain going onto the medium compounder tyres as his pit window is open at the moment. So he's going to pit within the next couple of laps. And I'm guessing from how it sounds, he is going to try and go for the undercut, which he has done a lot of times this season, and it's paid off for him. So we'll have to wait and see if it pays off tonight, of course. He's in traffic, though. He's got Hadler behind him and Pat Schneider behind him. I wonder if Hadler will go to the pits at exactly the same time.
It might be looking likely, but in the meantime, CC Brain even closer to Pat. So I think, he might go for the move. You can see how he's a lot more confident in the braking zone, and he's actually attacked the corner quite a lot more, but he's kind of compromised his exit a little bit there. And now he's probably not going to push too hard to take on Pat. And he's just trying to save his tyres. Probably will want to stretch him out a little bit. You can see he's actually gaining by quite a lot, and now coming to the braking zone, he's just going to hang back for another lap or so until he's really close enough to make a move without stressing his tyres too much.
Looking at Pat Schneider's telemetry at this moment in time, his pit window has not popped up, whereas CC Brain has. So this could prove to be really, really good for CC Brain. The pit loss around this circuit is around about 18 seconds. So it is not a lot compared to most other tracks. So I know it's complete opposite. I thought Pat was not going to pit, but he does. I thought CC Brain was going to pit, and he doesn't. So, I think that's going against what we were going to say. But yeah, Pat goes into the pits, trying to go for the undercut. I think he's going to try and help his teammate, Chapelelli, by the looks of things as well. He goes on to, I need to check the tyres. He goes on to the medium compounder tyres. And so does Lakitu, Steven, and Cedric as well. Not really a surprise, to be honest. Those mediums can make it until the end of this Grand Prix. It can last up to 16 laps. It's going to be a bit of a push, but for some laps they can really save their tyres and really push towards the end of the Grand Prix, where it really matters. Tomato, who's been on the medium since lap 1, is in 11th place on the circuit at the moment. And guess who's in front of him? His championship rival, Greeny LFC.
Yeah, these two stuck to each other like glue there. Two sides of the same coin. They're always in the same part of the track, whether that's right up the order or sitting in 10th and 11th. He has got DRS on Greeny up ahead, but he's just way too far back to actually try to mount any challenge. I doubt that he'll want to at this point in time, because really, if he risks it all, then he could potentially throw away a championship. It's guaranteed at this point. Hopefully, he doesn't do what Schumacher attempted in 1997, where he he tried to take out Jack Villeneuve and ended up getting himself disqualified from the entire 1997 championship. So hopefully Tomato doesn't have that running through his head at the moment. He just needs to keep consistent and stay behind.
The easiest thing for Tomato is to stay ahead of Greeny. If he stays ahead of Greeny, then he wins the title for definite. And if both of these drivers do not score any points, then Tomato wins the title. Greeny has got to get some podiums. He's not in a shot of a podium. So as it stands, we've got Tomato on to get his second PSGL F2 title. The last title he has won was season 24, which was a couple of seasons ago. He's well on his way at the moment to get a second, but it's not where he wants to be at this moment in time. But can we see Tomato pull off something that he did in China, where he started, I think 14th, or 11th, and went on to win. But he started from last this time, which is going to make it even more exciting if he takes this win here as well. But Chapalili did, I think, pit out of the safety car, and no, not the safety car, ahead of the undercut, and the undercut just did not work for Pat, as he's just behind Chapalili. And I'm just trying to see, has CC Brain pitted? No, he is not. So he's going for an extra few laps then. I'm guessing he wants to be on fresher tyres compared to his rivals by the looks of things.
Yeah, well, if he's got the tyre life, why not go an extra lap or so? He might lose the position to Lakitu or Hadler, who were right up behind him, of course, now with a lap undercut at the very least. We'll see if he comes into the pits. M. Shaw also hasn't opted to pit. I think he might have tried to go for last lap, but his teammate came in, as now both of the two leaders who are on the softs are now going to pull into the pit lane. Will, who we haven't really seen too much in this race at the moment, he's been sitting in 7th for a lot of it, now takes the lead of the Grand Prix. He is the leading medium runner by quite some distance to Name Changer up behind, but now we'll see CC Brain. He gets his tyres changed, and now he's on the way out of the pit lane. See Chapalelli, he's flying by. What about Pat? It looks like they're going to be right up to each other, but you can see CC Brain has lost the position to Lakitu and Hadler, it seems. So the undercut has worked out well for them two, and CC Brain now on the back foot. Fresher tyres though, so he'll be able to attack them a little bit more later on in this Grand Prix.
I think him staying on for a few extra laps did not help him whatsoever. He lost 2 positions due to that overcut that he just did, which was a bit of a shame, but he is going to push for all his might. He knows that the mediums will get to the end. He knows he could just push for a little bit longer, whereas the other drivers will have to save for a little bit longer. So maybe that will come to his advantage later on in the Grand Prix. Only one way to find out though, and that is to watch the rest of this race, as it's going to be absolutely amazing, I've got to say as well. A few people would have to pit again, the likes of Benny, Big C maybe, and I was just trying to think who else, and Dario as well down in 15th, who disconnected quite a few times, trying to make the move past M. Short after that little lock-up, but again he's losing some time to Skeeven. Skeeven actually got past Dario there, and Skeeven up into 14th. Dario has won a race this season, but he hasn't got off the mark in this race so far, as he's the last of the medium runners yet to pit, and he's going to be way down the order once he pits again. So what a shame for the Alfa Romeo driver of Dario, but he can still focus on running this race and try and get as many points as he can, as we've got M. Short in the pit lane, and I'm thinking that's for damage because he just pitted just recently. So yeah, it is for damage. So I wonder what happened there. He may have been made contact early on in the lap, and that is another set of medium tyres for M. Short. The guy that got a podium last time out, I don't think he's going to get the podium this time out, and that's a shame.
Yeah, the high-flying reserve just with bad luck getting damaged there. I don't think we mentioned this, but Tomato found his way past Greeny a couple laps ago, I think it was, and he's also managed to get by Luke. So now putting a car between him and his championship rival is really going to help him in this race, and now they're actually all in a bit of a skirmish in this train, and you can see Bugatti with the overspeed upwards of 330 kilometers per hour. He's now going to go up the inside of Compassion for P3, of course. All these guys yet to pit, and oh, there's Chapalele actually right on the back of Greeny. I didn't notice this. He's now going to go up the inside. A little bit of contact there between him, and Chapalele's around.
I think I feel guilty with this, because I think I've just had another commentator's curse on Chapalele. What a shame for Chapolini. He was doing so well. He was in the lead for pretty much all the race up until that point, but I think he just took the gamble there. But you got to learn to deal with the traffic that is in front of you and try and get past. But unfortunately, Chapolini wasn't good in doing that. And luckily, though, I think it was just a spin. Doesn't look like there's that much damage, so he can carry on until the end, but he's going to lose so much time. Meanwhile, Tomato has just got past Compassion for P4. He's making his way up the grid. His medium tyres are looking so much better than his rivals, but Tomato is quicker than his rivals. We've got Bugatti, Name Changer, and Will as well up in front, but those guys still yet to pit. But they are still producing some really good lap times on those medium tyres. They'll be pitting around about lap 14, 15-ish before they go onto the softs until the end of this Grand Prix. And look at this, we've got two champions basically on the circuit at the moment. Bugatti most likely going to be handing over the F2 title to Tomato, so switching it back and forth as it is going right now. Tomato is ahead of Greeny, and yeah, as it stands, for those who just joined us, if Tomato's ahead of Greeny, he's the world champion, so he is doing well. He's doing enough at the moment. It may not be where he wants to be at the moment, but you never know, the alternate strategy could work out for him.
Yeah, he's right up to the back of Bugatti. He's not going to try and fight him too much at the moment, is Tomato, but he definitely has more speed than the Mercedes driver up ahead. Of course, he came mid-season up from F3. I believe he was in about, I actually don't remember where he was in the F3 Championship, but he was selected to come up to Division 2. And so far, he's had some impressive performances, but hasn't really been on top of it lately. And of course, he's had a couple of DNSs. Now, opening the DRS is Tomato. You can just see how he's going to be gaining up towards turn number 1, but he's just not close enough. And CC Brain, but he is really lighting up the time screens at the moment. He's got some fastest lap, and he's closing up to Lakitu and Pat, the two that are leading the Grand Prix. And unfortunately, Dario out of the race. He has retired in the pit lane there, so he's just decided after those disconnects it was not for him. It was not going to be a good Grand Prix coming up from him, and he's had a lot of frustration in league racing lately, and that is not going to help him.
That is going to not help his motivation, that's for sure. But Dario, if you're watching, do not give up, I've got to say. You have the pace, that's why you're in F2, and if you're in your esports team, so keep up the good work, and hopefully you will go out with a bang in the final race and have a good result there. But yeah, Dario, the first retirement of the race there. But surprisingly that these guys are still keeping it on the circuit at this moment in time. I thought we'd be seeing more retirements at this stage, but no. These guys are still giving it their all here today, even if for some of them it's low positions. But we do have another yellow flag. I think that is Dario coming out the pits. Yes, it was Dario coming out the pits. I was just hyping myself too much. I thought it was the other alpha of Compassion there. But yeah, Compassion doing quite well on those mediums. But he's actually ahead of Greeny as well on those mediums. And he transitioned to no assist completely. Not so long ago, actually, and he's been happy running no assist at the moment, even though he's been scoring quite low. To be honest, it takes time for people like Compassion, and I think at some point we could see him score big points in seasons to come, but right now he's just learning his feet at the moment, and he wants F2 next season, and the only way to get into F2 is no assist at all, and Compassion is on the right way to prove himself that he deserves to stay in one of the top 2 tiers right now, and he could do well on the alternate strategy if he could keep his pace up. But here comes Luke catching up on Compassion as well. Luke chasing his first points of the season. I don't know if he's going to get it, to be honest, but I'm not going to jinx him, so I'm not going to say anything more.
Well, just looking a little bit behind Luke, we see Pat actually catching up, and there's CC Brenner. Completely missed that. Trying to go up the inside of Lakitu. Now they're going to run side by side down the straight. It looks like Lakitu just got that more. ERS2 fights him harder. CC Brenner completely drained the battery entirely. Is now coming into the braking zone. Is he going to go for the lunge? Yes, he will. Brake.
Wow, I think that looked amazing there. That was a great move there. I think we lost Dan's mic for a little bit there. So,
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. I think your voice call. But we still got some more battles, I think, as well. Pat has just got past Greeny as well. I know it's for traffic purposes, but Pat is definitely making his way through this traffic. Don't forget, Pat is your net race leader. He has never won a race in a PSGL before, and his best result was P2 I wonder if he can beat his best result and get P1 today, as he needs to get past Luke ASAP as well. There's quite a few people going into the pits. Compassion and Greeny are going into the pits for the soft compound tyres to make it until the end of this Grand Prix. Greeny doing the undercut on, obviously, Tomato, who is still out on those yellow medium compound tyres. But I think unless Tomato has almighty accident, I think the hopes for the championship for Greeny has gone down a little bit. But if Greeny still races where he is, then he can still try and secure second in that Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, well, maybe with the undercut he could be close. There's now a really bad run for Luke coming onto the DRS straight. This could be the battle for the net race leaders. Now tucking into the slipstream of Luke up ahead. I think CC Brain maybe could be going for both of them 2-1 if he's ambitious enough. Now coming into the braking zone, Pat's certainly ahead of Luke, but Luke's still trying to fight this one back. And now Big C, that is, well, to be frank, big there, as we could see a virtual safety car, and I was gonna say safety car, but it is actually the VSC coming out for Connor's retirement. That is the first one on track, and I don't know what happened to him there. Just looks like through the S's. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know it's in the first sector. I think it might just be through the S's where he's lost it.
Yeah, that was a shame for Big C. And that means that makes the second race in a row where he's not scored any points whatsoever. I'm just actually having a look at his stats. Yeah, second race in a row. The only other time he's not scored points was Japan, where he had a DNF, and the Zandvoort, where he got P13. Everything else he scored in either 7th place, 10th place, or 6th place. So that's another point gone down the window for Big C there. But we're seeing everyone that's on the alternate strategy go on to the soft compound tyres. And we can see Name Changer and Gonanen still fighting there. Gonanen pitted 6 laps ago, and Name Changer just got ahead of his teammate. And if I was Gonanen right now, you probably want to try and hold Tomato up, as Gonanen there was a bit early on the brakes there. He was some harsh defending, but he's doing what he's got to do to try and keep his teammate in front and not let Tomato challenging at this moment in time. But Tomato's still in a good position, even though that he's not going to score any points right now. But don't forget, the softs are the freshest tyres. Oh no, Tomato has hit Gonanen. Tomato's hit Gonanen, and I think Gonanen's got damage. Simo's now out of the race. We're down to 17 drivers now. I think that was just after turn 1 was where Simo had his accident. So that is 1v1 now for the constructors now. Lakitu, I think, has got a fight on his hands now.
Yeah, but with the soft tyres for Tomato, he'll be much more quick than all of the medium runners up ahead of him. But someone who's probably in the best position to win this Grand Prix is Will. He is a mere 5.5 seconds off of Pat for the lead, and he's going to be absolutely rapid on that set of softs, of course. Completely fresh. He pitted under the VSC. Now we've got another one. We should be seeing that come off so very soon, as they can probably increase the speed. I'd expect around about maybe in 5 seconds we'll see green flag running, and for some reason Skifan's just retired in the pits for no apparent reason. He was in a great position, and he was going to have some good points, and now he's just out. I don't know what he's done.
I don't know what he's done as well. Hopefully we'll find out later on in the race. But yeah, I have to agree. Don't underestimate Will. I was just saying at the start of the race to not underestimate Will, because obviously he was on the alternate strategy, a driver to watch out for, of course, as well. Definitely watch out for Name Changer and Tomato making their way up through the field as well. I think it could be a battle between, I think, the top 3 and also Will, Name Changer and Tomato for the race win, and potentially Hannah and Shapalili. Shapalili, don't forget, had a spin and he's still in this. That's crazy. So he's still in for a good points finish, a good comeback drive at the moment. I think the spin did not cost him now. Luckily, there was no damage by the sound of things, but his tyres must be getting a little bit hot, which is probably why Will's going to catch up to him in an instant. 1.4, 1.2 seconds is the gap. Will is purple, sector 2. He wants his race victory today, as Gonanen just left the session. Obviously, he has retired earlier on, so that's a bit of a shame. But so we're down to 14 drivers, but Pat is still your race leader, but for how much longer? as CC Brain is catching up to him as well. Dan, there's just so many battles on track. We don't know who to keep up with, but this is going to be an almighty final third of this race.
Yeah, now Will is within the DRS range of the cars up in front of him. That could be an absolutely gargantuan win for him at this point, because now with that DRS he can start picking them off one by one with the superior grip of the softs. He probably won't make his runs through the DRS straights, but it'll probably be through the corners where he's going to be the strongest. And Chapelelli just takes a 3-second time penalty there. We're forgetting about penalties as well. So, if you have a penalty just a couple more than your rivals, you could drop way down the order. We can see that the grip that Will has at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for the move on Chapelelli. Chap defends to the inside, so he's going to have to go a long way around. Does Will, and now side by side on exit, but Will's just going to have that superior grip, and Chapelelli's still going to fight him back. So they're going to run side by side down the straightaway. Now Hadler giving the toe to Will, and he's just going to have that little bit of extra speed, but he's a little bit boxed in here by the two jumps, and now Hadler's going to defend to the inside. Chapelelli going up the inside, they're 3 wide through the corner, and Will's going to have to go off the circuit there. How have they not made contact? And there was actually a little bit of a nudge there. Hadler's now lost the position to Chapelelli, and now has Pat gone off? Pat's off the circuit, and now CC Brain leads this Grand Prix, and it is all kicking off on lap number 19 as Will now making the switchback move, coming around the outside. If he can make this move work, I will be absolutely stunned. Now trying to make the move. Can he do it? He's just going to have to stick behind Chapelelli. But what happened to Pat there? Just looked like he spun.
Yeah, it looked like it as well, and he's not going into the pit. So yes, I think he made a similar mistake to Chapelelli, but I think it was a bit later on in the lap to what Chapelelli did. So that was unfortunate, but there's still 8 laps to go, and don't forget, Pat may have got less penalties than his rivals, so he can still take that race victory. Meanwhile, Tomato is trying to get past Name Changer at the moment. Don't forget, Renault is in a good position to try and outscore Williams today. So I'm just trying to look on what I'm going to do. They're going to try and get the points that I need for, obviously, the Constructors' Championship. Because remember, first place gets 16 points. Second place gets 15 points. Third place gets 12. I don't know. I'm losing track of how many points people get, but I will check that out in a minute. But Williams can't afford to be outscored by 22 points, because otherwise the Constructors' title would be going on for one final race, and that will allow Faz to come in the picture. Meanwhile, Will has done a brilliant move on Chapelelli. He's in the podium spots. He is 1.2 seconds behind Lakitu. The race victory is looking all but sweet for Will, but I know Lakitu is going to be defending for his life at the moment, so watch out for these guys. CC Brain could be on course to be getting his second win in a row and helping Ferrari score some crucial points in the Constructors' Championship as well. This is going to be very, very tight for those indeed as well. CC Brain is going every man of himself. Obviously, he's not worrying about his teammate. He's worrying about himself at the moment. But Will, he's now 6 tenths. He's within DRS. This is going to get almighty in from lap 21 onwards. Will wants this win, and he wants it now.
Yeah, he is really going to be pushing it at this point. Meanwhile, further back behind, Shizu Tomato just going to go up the inside of Cedric's 11 lap-old mediums against 3 lap-old softs. Really, it's not going to be too much of a fight, and I don't think he's going to be holding up too many defences against the Name Changer and the likes of Greeny and Compassion behind, who's really dropped off from this train a little bit. So Greeny's probably, the title hopes are slipping through his fingers at this moment in time. Really unfortunate, but I think Tomato might have this one in the bag.
Yeah, it looks like Tomato has this one in the bag, to be honest, but it may not be in the way that he hopes, but you'll still be happy that he is performing really, really well in the championship as well. Don't forget his teammate Rafa, who was in the lead for quite a long time. He scored 5 race wins in a row, and unfortunately he got a P13 in Spain, in Belgium, and a P14 in the Netherlands, and then he decided to quit league racing. It's not just from PSGL, but from all race leagues in the PS4. So, you know, it's been all up to Tomato, but Imossi, also known as Simo, has been scoring good for them. So, obviously, all 3 teammates have contributed to the big call that Williams have had at the moment. CC Brain has got a 3-second time penalty, as we did see Will get past Lakitu for second place. Is Will going to get past CC Brain for the racing? I don't know the penalties for Will, but this is going to be an almighty battle for the finish. Will's going to have the DRS, remember, going into turns 10 and 11 and 12 pretty soon, but now they make their way through the S section. Will is the prancing horse, he's the attacker, he's gaining, and I would like to call CC Rain as a defender on this one, as they now go through to the end of the S section now. Will consensus going through his fingers, he can't make a mistake at the moment. He's only going to make a move once he sees fit. He's not going to try now because he's seen other people make mistakes through here, but he's already gained a bit of time going through this straight hill, going up the hill then through the DRS range. They're running out of airs as well, which is going to cost them a bit of time, but here comes Will. He's going to get the move done early on, and there he goes. Will takes the lead of the United States Grand Prix. He just missed out in season 23, but looks like he's going to do one better than season 23 and take the race victory today. All he's got to do is try and increase that gap, and then he's won. So, you know, Will is definitely looking on course to win.
Yeah, and that'll be a brilliant result for the AlphaTauri team. Of course, his teammate has retired from this one, but you can already see the superior grip that those softs have. They are only 4 laps old. They are in completely perfect condition. Well, not perfect, obviously. They are still in great nick, as now CC Brink is way too far back to even try and launch an attack. He's almost out of the DRS range of Will up ahead. So now he's probably going to turn his attention to defending from Lakiti, but I think Will, picking up all the drivers one by one, has begun to separate them just a little bit. But one driver who's going to be rubbing his hands at the moment is Tomato. He is right up to the back of Pat, now within the DRS range of the Racing Point. Pat could have been leading this Grand Prix a little bit earlier, but of course he had his own moment, and now he's dropped to 6th position. Could be down into 7th very soon because Tomato looks raring at the moment.
Yeah, Tomato doesn't need to be pushing as much, of course, because if he's where he is, he obviously wins the title, but he wants to score as many positions as he can, because obviously there is a constructors fight as well, as Tomato looking very good on exit to this corner, as they're now going to be approaching turn 12 really soon. Let's see how Pat can defend this. He's trying his best to defend onto the left-hand side. Here comes Tomato on the right. They're going to go side by side into that corner. Let's see what they can do. Who said you can't overtake in the United States? They're banging Will. Good respect from both of these drivers, and Tomato gets the job done up into 6th place in this race. Well done from him. He's now 7 tenths behind Hadler and not that far behind Shapalili as well. It's going to be tough to get past Akitu, but I said that a few races ago when CC Brain was trying to make his way through the field. So never say never. Anything can happen in Formula 1. Tomato can actually just see Greeny's teammate CC Brain as well. So Tomato may still be on shot on getting a podium.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not a million miles off. Someone who's also trying to make a move is Shapalili, but he just can't find the way through on Lakitu. So they're all getting a bit racy in the latter parts of the Grand Prix. CC Brain hasn't actually dropped too much off of Will. He's still about a second off, which is obviously not enough. I believe M Short coming to the pit lane could be retiring or could be going for the fastest lap, just a snatch point away from a fellow rival up the grid. As now coming through the end of the S's into Sector 2, Tomato is 4 tenths back from Hadler. You can see how he just gained throughout this section. Of course, Dirty Air has not been any help at all, but now coming down into the DRS straight, well, it might be a case of land to the slaughter, because he is going to be raring, using up the last of his DRS now, flying down the straight. You can see further up ahead, Chapalelli and Lakitu also having a little skirmish of their own, and now down the inside, coming into the braking zone. It is the move for Tomato, and meanwhile, they're still side by side up ahead between Lakitu and Chapalelli, who finds a way through on the Renault car. So now the constructors fight is going to be turned to here, because Tomato's going to go up the inside. That is how it is done. He's just got the superior grip on the soft tyres. Now coming onto the fast right-hander. He's going to hang it around the outside. Don't tell me he's actually going to make this move stick, as now using those soft tyres to his advantage. He's got the move, and it's P4 for Tomato. How has he done that against Lakitu? Incredible work from the Welshman. He's up into 4th, and that championship looking super likely at the moment. I'll tell you what, he deserved it.
Yeah, and you know what also is looking likely? The Constructors' title at the moment, because at the moment Williams are ahead of Renault in the fight. I'll have to do some maths as well, and meanwhile Haller's also got past Lakitu as well. So, you know, and don't forget, for the constructors fight though, Ferrari are still ahead at the moment with CC Brain in second. So, yeah, Tomato's got a lot of work to do, obviously, but I'll try to do the maths on the points and we'll get back to you regarding the constructors. But we do know that Tomato's got a few more laps and then he could be crowned champion. But I'm not going to count my chickens yet because a few times I've done it and someone bins it. So I'm not going to say anything more at the moment. CC Brain is now out of DRS range of Will. Shapalili is going to be pressured by Tomato. Here comes Tomato, swoops past Shapalili there, and there is a podium for Tomato. I told you he will be on the podium. Could we see an alternate strategy 1-2? I think we can. The way Tomato is absolutely pushing, and maybe Tomato could get the race win.
Yeah, the two of them were quite fortunate with the VSC. They were able to lose less under the virtual safety car when they did come into the pit lane. And when you really can't blame them for it. You know, the opportunity was there. Why not pit? But they haven't executed it to perfection. As now they begin lap number 26. Will just has to bring it home 3 more times in this Grand Prix. And then that will be win number 2 in season 26. It's something to be happy about if Will coming up from F3. Of course, remember, he was originally placed in the 3rd division, and now he is pretty much a staple as one of the quickest drivers in F2. And if he's got more pace left in him, he could be in F1 next season. That is quite a bold prediction, but I'm going to throw it out there. If he's quick enough in his evaluations, he could be well up there.
Just to let you know, Dan, if they've raced at least 2 races in season 26, they don't have to do evaluation races unless obviously they want to improve themselves. But
I didn't know that.
That's why it's on Discord. But yeah, it's not compulsory if you've raced at least 2 races in season 26. It's one less pressure on your shoulders if you delivered in season 26. All you got to do is just sign up, and then that's your place done for season 26. If you turned up to pretty much every single race, almost every single race, then that's your seat confirmed, and then you'll have to wait to see if you get into either F2 or F1. And I've got a few things to say about Tomato at the end of this race, but I'm not going to say anything more until he crosses the line. But CC Brain is still going to be a very impressive 2nd place, the leading person who started on the softs and going on to the medium compound tyres. Compassionate is looking like to score some more points this season as he makes the move past Cedric, but Cedric's going to go on the attack once again. This is an uncommon place to try and launch and overtake. Cedric's going to try and go for the switch, but this is really, really good racing, and we can see Luke right on the back of this as well, that's still chasing his first ever point. Again, he's going to come so close, but yet so far as Compassion is going to be amazed if he can get points in USA. One of the most hardest tracks on the calendar for him with no assist, I've got to say. I would find it hard if I was on no assist as well. Meanwhile, Name Changer going round side by side into turn 1 and 2 past Pat, but unfortunately Pat had to defend really, really hard there. He was going to try and go for a move on the S's, but that was going to be quite tricky if I do save myself. But Shapalili, to add to his sorrows, getting another 3-second time penalty. I don't want to look at the penalties. I think it's going to change quite a bit in this Grand Prix. I'm not sure who hasn't got penalties at this time. I think everyone's got. Haven't seen much penalties from Tomato though.
I've definitely seen his name pop up quite a few times. I've only seen CC Brain at the bottom around about once, and maybe once or twice for Will. So it could still go the way of CC Brain if he just sticks within a couple seconds of Will just up ahead. But Tomato's going to be breathing down his neck for the last lap and a half for this Grand Prix. He's 5/10 at the moment. CC Brain, no DRS to help him defend really from the eventual championship winner. He's just got to do one more lap, a lap of honour for Tomato, and it will be another F2 championship. Of course, he won it, I believe. Do correct me if I am wrong, but he won it in season 24.
Yes. And
he could be taking it home in season 26. As now the DRS is opening for the final time, coming up towards turn number 1. Here he is. You can see the overspeed, 320 kilometers per hour. He's going to go up the inside of CC Brain. There's a little bit of wheel banging, just a little bit of a love tap, but it is Tomato moving ahead into P2. And he's just a second off of Will. He could still amount a challenge if he has a monstrous final lap in this Grand Prix.
Don't forget, Will and Tomato have been on the same amount of tyres in terms of length and terms of stint. So that means they're going to be on even pace at the moment. Tomato has just got to get within the DRS range in just a second. I think he's going to get there. He's on 3% of battery in ERS, but I think he's just made it. He's just made it into the DRS detection zone. That's really going to help him mount a challenge on Will. It would be amazing if he secures the title and he gets the win to go with it. That would be an amazing going from last to first. That would be incredible. But for Will to go where he started, I think it was 11th, to win, that would be amazing too. So whoever goes on to win this race will be well deserving, to tell you the truth. But Will has got, and Tomato has got the final sector to go. Greenie's hopes of the championship has all but faded, unless Tomato may make a mistake. But it looks like Tomato is pushing for Will to make a mistake maybe as well. So these two going towards the final corner. Who's going to take the race victory here today? Tomato has won the championship in season 24, but he's done it again in season 26. Tomato is your season 26 PSGL F2 champion. Well done to him, well deserved. And we don't know about the constructors title, but CC Brain has won the race due to him getting, I think, no penalty. So I feel bad for not giving him enough glory. But yeah, CC Brain is your United States Grand Prix winner. But well done to Tomato, your PSGL F2 champion for season 26.
If I'm not mistaken, that actually puts the win tally at CC Brain. He's got more wins than Tomato in this season. Tomato's only had 2 race victories. He's been more consistent with the points and, of course, the finishes. CC Brain really didn't kick it up a gear until later on in the season. Now he's actually won more Grand Prix in this season than the championship winner. So you do have to give it to CC Brain, of course, second only behind Rafa, who won 4 races in this season before leaving after round number 4 in Spain. In Netherlands.
Yeah, indeed. And I've got to give I don't know who to give driver of the day to. It's been so much action, and obviously the game has given it the driver of the day to the F2 champion of Tomato, and he can concentrate on the final race. And from what I've heard, Dan, he is going to be turning line off for season 27, which may mean he'll be going back to F1 next season. That'll be amazing to see. If he doesn't get into F1, then that's going to be a fraud, I must say. But yeah, Tomato, he has worked hard this season. But CC Brain has done all he could. I think it's a German one. I'm not sure if it's a German one too. I'll have to double check that. But yeah, CC Brain, let me just check the standings actually. Ignore the podium celebrations. Let's see if he gets any. He only had 3 seconds. And Hadler had no penalties at all. Who could forget about Hadler? He's gained 1 position. That's amazing. So let's go through your results. Brain with first place, Hadler second, Will third, Tomato fourth. And we got Pat, Name Changer, Chapalele, Lakitu, Cedric, Compassion, Greenie, Luke, M Short, Benny, Skivan, Golanen, Bugatti, Simo, Big C, and Dario. So I will have to do some maths. So let me get the constructors. I think Williams have done it. I will just have to get the points tally up. Just give me a second. So CC Brain was the only scoring Ferrari, so he would score 16 points. And they only outscore Williams by 6 points. So I may be wrong, but looks like Tomato has done the double if I've done my maths right. Williams are your PSGL F2 Constructors Champions, if I've done my maths right. I'm sorry if I haven't, but yeah, well done to Williams.
Yeah, great work towards them. Of course, a lot of those points were contributed by Rafa, but the championship winner, to Shazoo Tomato, he wraps it up for Williams today. So well done to the 3 drivers that have represented Williams this season, Rafa, Tomato, and of course Simo, who did DNF from this Grand Prix, but he's going to have a little bit of glory in that one, so well done to him.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, I'm excited for the season to it's going to be a bit of a sweep, to be honest, because next week is the final race in Brazil, and what a final race to end on. Nothing to fight for in terms of the championship, but it's going to be a really tight fight between Ferrari and Renault for second and third place after CC Brain's fantastic win. And for the Drivers' Championship, CC Brain is going to move up ahead of Faz, and he's going to be in, I think, I think he's going to jump both Faz and Greeny. So CC Brain is going to be second place in the standings. Who would have thought that?
Sorry, have I lost connection?
I
think I'm okay.
I think you're okay, but yeah, as I was saying, CC Brain, looking at the standings, CC Brain would jump Faz and Greeny after tonight.
Oh wow, really well done to CC Brain there. He's done a brilliant job this season, picking up 3 wins, and it all started with that brilliant move in Japan, of course, that really did secure him that victory. The safety car worked the treat for him, and then of course he was just absolutely fired up from that point. Motivation was on top, and he has really done well this season. Now in second position. Of course, he can't win it in the final Grand Prix, but what if he had that form for the entire season? He really could have been a threat to Tomato's championship.
I think we could see another driver into PSGL F1 next season of CC Brain, as CC Brain and Greeny are the known F2 admin. Maybe CC Brain could move up to F1. We'll have to wait and see, but we won't keep you waiting for a little longer. I know you guys want to watch PSGL F1, and I want to as well, and I don't want to stop you from watching that. So watch PSGL F1, as Racing Point could wrap up the Constructors' Championships today if they outscore by a certain amount of points as well. And there's going to be an interesting title fight between Matthias, Onyx, and Gil. I was trying to remember who it was, but it was Gil. And also there's F3 on as well. And then we got the final race of the Formula Performance season on tomorrow as well. Thanks for watching. I can't believe it's the final round next week. I've been Jess Games95. Thank you to Dan for joining me as always.
Yeah, it was brilliant to be here. Cannot wait to go out with a bang in the final Grand Prix of season 26.
And we will see you next week for the Brazilian Grand Prix. And I'll just leave you with one final word. Shazoo Tomato, season 26, PSGL F2 World Champion. Have a good evening. Goodbye.